Hello, my absolutely gorgeous darlings. It's me again. And I have to say, I am here to wish you as positive a week as you can have and the most beautiful Monday. And I know for a lot of us that's really, really hard, but I am not throwing the towel in. The reason I've said all that is because everywhere, literally everywhere, 100% of where I went last week and the people who came to see me, they are absolutely mentally at breaking point, exhausted, confused, overwhelmed. They're bursting into tears for seemingly no reason. But there's loads of reasons why you are, my darlings, loads of reasons. You know, you're absolutely inundated. You know, mental health is our pandemic. It really, really is. So, you know, these few tips I want to share with you today are to really help to top you up, whether you're autistic, have ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia, any sort of neurodiversity, whether you're living with anybody with a neurodiversity, whether you're caring for somebody who is neurodiverse, whether you need to just top up you, actually. You know, that's really, really important, because being in the front line of dealing with mental health, I mean, therapists are the worst, with the absolute worst. It's dire. But honestly, we don't top ourselves up. And staff in a lot of the places I went to last week, some of them were in tears. I mean, that might have been because I'd arrived and it was the last straw. You never know. But they did tell me it's because they're just so inundated with paperwork. They can't help or hug the kids in the way that they need to and want to. And it's just total overwhelm for so many people. So I'm sharing with you a few tips today that are really, really easy. You can't go wrong. If there are any contraindications at all, I will point those out. Either add them to what you do as a therapist or use them on a friends and family basis. You can get kids or adults to mirror you and do it for themselves over Zoom sessions, or if they don't like you touching them, if they're touch averse, they can mirror you. It empowers them anyway, because then you're giving them the actual tools. But it's dire. The mental health situation is dire, and the UK is currently the very, very worst for mental health and our suicide rate. You know, 84 young men every day commit suicide here at the moment, and the figures are rising. So we really need to be on it. We need to be on it big time. So the first thing I'm going to show you is called Yin Tang. Don't worry about all these names. It really doesn't matter. The main thing is that you are empowered by these movements that you can do. And if you're working with somebody who doesn't have much mobility, you can do it for them, you know, obviously with their permission. And if they're non-verbal, you can always feel when somebody really doesn't like something, because they stiffen, their bodies go stiff. So you can read bodies. You know, you don't always need speech. People can still agree to things, whether they're verbal or non-verbal. And having said all of that, this is absolutely brilliant for neurotypical people too. This is inclusive of everybody. So we're going to begin with the Yin Tang, and it's literally the middle of your, if you imagine you had a third eye there, if you massage there, just in gentle circles, it absolutely grounds and centers the mind. It's also, you're right on that point of melatonin, which is the neurotransmitter of sleep, mood and aggression. So absolutely brilliant to help level us out when we start to hit that point of what we train in. It's called high arousal, where you're just through the roof. You're just absolutely at breaking point. Meltdown's going to happen. So you can just massage really gently there. Or if you're not very keen on massage, just press, hold and release. So it's entirely up to you how you're comfortable with doing that. But it's really fantastic as well, because it's a big concentration point and it brings a lot of mental clarity. It quietens that continual chatter in the brain. I mean, you can imagine what mine's like. I feel like giving myself a flipping asbo. I keep saying flipping on YouTube. It's got to stop. They might ban me. But anyway, So this is what it does. It clears your brain, grounds you, centers you, brings back positivity, levels out mood, levels out aggression. And that's just by either massaging that or pressing, holding and releasing, and obviously doing it a few times. And if you can just do that on a daily basis, you know, you could even do it quite discreetly in a meeting, a work meeting, if you're an adult, or while you're watching telly, or while you're in a classroom. You can just lean down and do that, and nobody's going to think you're a weirdo, which is always a bonus in my life, because most of the time I do look like a total weirdo. I'm past caring, to be honest, but you might not be. So I'm being very, very sensitive to this. The next place you can go is called the KD 27 points. And it's just, if you follow your neck down, it's just there, like 4 fingers widths, fingertip widths down, not 4 fingers widths. You'd have to be a giraffe. You know what I mean? 4 finger pads down, and it's there. And if you just massage very, very, very gently there, these are fear points actually. So it helps to dispel fear, helps to bring back self-confidence. And again, if you don't like massaging, if that's feeling really tender because you're undergoing a lot of fear-based emotions, that can feel tender. Mine does a little bit today, I'm being honest with you, but it is. So you can just gently press, hold, and release again. So you're in charge of it, you know, and if you're doing it for somebody, you will feel from their bodies, oh, that's too much. So just go to pressing, press and release. You can do it as acupressure as well as part of massage, but it also helps you let go of expectations. It brings in that big acceptance. You know, 80% of what we worry about doesn't even happen. That's an absolute fact, scientific fact. So this really helps with that acceptance, that letting go, that enhancing positivity, which we all need. It massively enhances positivity and that brain clarity again, because when we're undergoing any sort of mental health issue, challenge, illness, we get foggy, we get muddled, we get overwhelmed. I have days where I know I've got like a really important deadline coming up, and I will do every tiny, minuscule, ridiculous thing because I can't focus, because my brain is everywhere. So when I do this, it really helps to bring me back in line, literally brings me back in line with my brain and calms me. The next point is LUI. Now, please don't worry about remembering all the numbers of this, you know. I'm not here to teach you maths and the alphabet. You can see where I'm going. Just go there. And these are anxiety points. I've discussed them before on previous videos. And again, these you can do quite discreetly, especially, you know, in this half of the world anyway. It's getting chilly now, so you can even do it under your coat. You know, do it in the bath. Do it when you're watching telly. You can do it anywhere, you know, but gently massage there, and that really helps massively ease anxiety, particularly if you do it often. And go clockwise and anti-clockwise. And again, if you just want to press, hold and release and have a more acupressure slant on things, that's absolutely fine as well. You know, this is supposed to be empowering to you. If you're a therapist that runs Zoom sessions, or for instance, you know, a lot of the academies I go into, there's an absolutely zero touch policy still in place. So you can get the kids to mirror you, and they use it and it works. Get them to put these little things into anxiety boxes, little therapy folders, anything that will help, you know. But this is really, really, really good because it helps with depression, mental clarity, boosting that positivity, that brain positivity, that heart positivity, easing anxiety. The next one I'm going to show you is right there, right in the middle of your chest there. And I've always called it an angel thumbprint because I can fit my thumb in there and it's like a little angel. I'm not saying I'm an angel, by the way, but I've always called it that ever since I was little, and it's not any technical term. So I'm not giving that to you as any technical term. It's just what I call it. It's like a little angel's put their little thumb on there. So that's what I call it anyway. And if you just press, hold and release there, it's really, really, really massively centering and calming. So it, you know how you can mouth breathe when you're up against it mentally, or you can even reverse breathe where your tummy goes in when you breathe in and it should come out. This helps you to breathe properly, to prevent that shallow breathing. It opens up the diaphragm. It helps you fill your lungs to full capacity. And if we can do that, it's a bit like with pain. You know, if you could breathe through pain, it takes the edge off pain. And it's exactly the same with mental or emotional pain. So if you press and release there, that opening up of the diaphragm, that calming and centering automatically helps to lower your breathing to a much healthier level and just take that edge off, a bit like gas and air with contractions, you know. Well, you men wouldn't know, but I promise you it does. Just take my word for it. It also helps with nervousness, grief. If you have any sort of emotional imbalance, if you think about it, you know, it's around the heart area. So this is why it's so powerful. And then if you just go either side of that and you do both sides, just press and release, or you can massage, you know, you can massage there too. It's entirely up to you, but pressing and holding and releasing is also good. And this one is KD24. Please don't worry about all these numbers as I say, but just in case there's any professional therapists out there of you who have trained like me and you do acupressure, you'll know exactly what I'm on about anyway. But for those of you who haven't trained in it, you can see, and it's quite harmless. You're not going to do any harm to yourself or your health by doing any of these. You're just going to bring enormous benefits, you know. So KD24, I'm trying not to be technical. So if you go either side of your angel thumbprint and just press and release, this is empowerment, confidence, self-worth. So many people don't have self-worth, and this is huge for that. It really does. It really helps with confidence, and it enhances all that gorgeous, delicious positivity, which we're all running a little bit low on. You know, that we really are. I wanted to hug so many people last week and I just couldn't. And it's like a torture. I'm part Italian, for crying out loud. How long are they going to stop me from this? You know, it's like a blimmin' purgatory. Yeah, so this is a good way to kind of give yourself that hug. Bring back that positivity. And all this touch, of course, the whole time is boosting immunity. Touch boosts immunity. Within 20 seconds now, they're saying, latest reports show that 20 seconds after putting your hands on, you're releasing oxytocin, the hormone of love and nurture that stimulates that all-important emotional intelligence. And that's not just emotional intelligence for others, but emotional intelligence for ourselves, to be kind to ourselves, to be self-aware, you know, to be compassionate, to have understanding, to have empathy. All of those emotionally intelligent skills are released along, you know, through the oxytocin. So really important stuff is going on there. So then we've got to finish with, you can't see me, can you? Hang on a minute, let me turn around. It's called GB20. Don't worry about all these letters and numbers, as I say, but basically, you know, either side of the hollow bit there, you're going there, either side there, but with the pads of your fingers. And you can either press and release or massage. And actually, that point there is at where the very start of the vagus nerve begins in the body. And the vagus nerve is the largest nerve of the central nervous system, but really massively, gigantically, humongously and terrifically important. The vagus nerve pushes up that, my favourite neurotransmitter, dopamine. That's where it all happens. It's the telephone wire that connects that first brain to the second brain, and they check in with each other every nanosecond of the day and night without you even realising. And the start of the vagus nerve is there. So when you press and release, or just very gently massage there, you are pushing up that dopamine. And dopamine is the neurotransmitter of that wonderful feeling of reward. It's motivation, drive, when you've lost your mojo and you need to hike it back. It's all that, attention, you know, feeling excited about stuff. I probably need somebody to calm mine down a bit. But there we go. It is my favourite neurotransmitter. I absolutely love it. It's fab. It's also a still point there. And that does what it says on the tin. Brings the body to stillness, lowers heart rate, well, not lowers it, evens it to what it should be, you know, brings it right down to where it should be, your heart rate and blood pressure. So really powerful. Touch is so powerful on a neuroscientific level. It really, really is. But what it also does, that point, because of the attention and the focus and the dopamine, it helps to alleviate depression, anxiety, confusion. So that brain feeling all foggy and muddled again, you know, and you wake up and you don't know where to start. You don't know how to face your day. Even working out what to put on can sometimes be a huge effort. Mind you, after driving through Minehead the other day, I did get the feeling that some people had only got dressed because they'd be arrested if they were naked. Don't know quite what was going on. No offence. I know you lovely people in Minehead. We all look lovely, don't we? You know, well, I'm 6 miles out of Minehead, but I still try and look lovely. Something weird was going on. And it was honestly as if people had just picked up things just to, you know, cover their nudity and nothing else. I don't know why I went off on one just then. I do apologise. But what this also does, I'm going to do it to myself again so I stay on point. It stimulates the brain and clarity. So it brings you enormous clarity. Really brings you enormous clarity. I think it must have been adult weekend in Minehead because, yeah, that's interesting, that is. That's like going to another planet. That must have been what it was, yeah, because it doesn't normally look like that in Minehead. Anyway, so this brings you clarity. See, I'm back on point again now. I have to drift off a tiny bit because that's just me. Wonderful. And you can just press and release as well. So I hope all of those points help. I really do. They might not all be for you. Try them out. You might just like 2 or 3. You might just like 1. But you know what? Every tiny bit we do to help ourselves is fantastic because, as we all know, you know, the waiting lists for CAMHS before COVID were 18 months. Now they're a good 2 years. And it's really critical, people. You know, even crisis teams at hospitals are overrun and you can wait days, weeks for an appointment. And this is when you're suicidal. You know, to get any sort of diagnoses, a lot of people are breaking their backs to find anything as much as £400 upwards to see a private OT to get that diagnosis because there's a 3 to 5 year wait. And as we know, our kids who are neurodiverse are 2 to 6 times more likely anyway to pick up an additional mental health issue. And then there's all of us, as I said before, in the front line dealing with that every day. And we need to top ourselves up so that we stay present and fill ourselves up. It's not selfish. I used to think that any time I took for myself was selfish and it could have been used on a child or a young adult or a teacher or whoever. But actually, even I am trying now and again to find some time to top me up. Because if you're both in a hole together, how can you get out? You know, you can't pull anyone out, can you? So it's not selfish, it's self-care. And the more you top you up, the more you can give to others. So if you are in that front line, if you are working in a school, a special school, an academy, a doctor's surgery, you're working as a therapist, you're working as a full-time mum of someone with different abilities, top yourselves up. Not only is it delicious, but it's vital. It's really, really vital because help, true help, is hard to find. And so, you know, I'm going to keep on sharing, even if I am a little bit crazy and suddenly go off on tangents about the dress sense of people in Minehead who have come down for adult weekend. Sorry about that bit. We've got to help ourselves, darlings. We've got to stay strong. We've got to keep fighting. We've got to keep believing. And even if we can't touch, we can share the touch via Zoom, telling each other about it, mirroring, sharing these tips. So if you know of anybody at all who you think this will help, please share my video with them. If you can share my YouTube channel with them, that would be even better, because even if touch isn't for you, I share tons of other stuff. Yoga, meditation, mindfulness, you name it. Juliananess, I share it freely and I do love it. I really do love it. So if you could do the little thumbs up and a subscribe, I will be full of dopamine today without having to press a thing. So thank you in advance. And I will see you next week. And I'll share something lovely then with you too. Stay strong, everybody. I know those sound like such empty words, don't they, when you feel like you're falling to bits. But this will come to an end. And we just have to help each other through it. But I get it, I really do. But just do the best you can every day, even if that's just a little bit of touch to keep you going. So take care, everybody. Lots and lots of love. And I will see you next week. Bye, my darlings.